content creation has become such a strong game at this point in time. Every day, 500 new creators are registered on Instagram. You started at quite an early age and time when this was just cropping up.
I started in 2012. I started through awkward Facebook. I remember starting a Facebook page called We Love Custom Made. I am really good at craft and making something new out of something. I can revamp an object. I put up some stuff that I already had done for myself, and it took off because nobody was doing it at that time.
How did the journey of travel begin?
We used to always go to our ancestral home in Bangalore. So when I started my YouTube journey, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna vlog this. I've straightened my hair and I've put some red lipstick and I have a hat on me and I'm like very posh and like in a cow shed. I'm like, so guys, we are here. And that time like I was not very confident to be myself.
Which was your first brand deal paid which you got on Instagram?
I got paid 5,000 rupees to post for this brand.
Stepping into the beautiful jewelry brand that you've created, I want to know what exactly led to its creation. And why not launch a fashion brand, clothing brand?
Because I've loved jewelry so much. Like when I was a kid, whenever I would have a fight with my parents, I would leave the house with nowhere to go. But I would take my gold chain and my gold bangle because I knew that I can survive by selling these.
What kind of margins do you make?
That I cannot tell you, bro.
Have you had any near-death experience?
I felt like I'm dying.
Welcome Larissa on the show. You're one of the first few influencers that we've gotten, and one of the reasons being that I really feel content creation has become such a strong game at this point in time with digital technology changing every day. And if you don't become a content creator or a personal brand, you'll definitely lose out on a larger chunk of the business. And you started at quite an early age and time when this was just cropping up. Abhi to you see so many creators every day, like there was a statistics which said that every day 500 new creators are registered on Instagram in India.
In India.
Yeah. Tell me, how did you start and when did you start? Which year was it?
Oh, I started in 2012.
My God.
Yeah. I started in 2012. I started through awkward Facebook, you know. And I remember starting a Facebook page called We Love Custom Made. We love custom made. So custom made, there was no double M. I was really good at craft and making something new out of something that's, like I know the potential of every object. I can revamp an object or like your denim pants or your shoes or your wall. If it's boring, I can revamp it. So it's custom made. So I made a Facebook page. I put up some stuff that I already had done for myself and it took off. Because nobody was doing it at that time.
Give me an example of one thing that you revamped.
Like my denim pants, I cut them off, I stitched it and I added some really cool buttons. I painted it, the bag. Even today, I would carry it even today.
Yeah.
Yeah, so people flipped.
Okay.
That and then I painted my own bedroom wall on my own. Even that was a crazy idea. My phone covers. So back then, Hannah Montana was like a big thing.
Yeah, I remember.
So she had these bedazzled phone covers and I said, I can make that. So I made that and people flipped over that as well. And they said, oh, can you make that for me as well? I said, okay, but you've got to pay. And I've always been that business girl. Since the time I was a kid, I've sold lip glosses in class. Tattoos, the ones you get in the chewing gum. I sold a lot of like random things that people wouldn't get in the market, I would take it in my school bag and people enjoyed it. It was like a new thing every day. I bought this. Okay, what is Larissa brought today?
Okay.
So I had this thing like, okay, if I have 10 rupees, how do I make it into 20 rupees? It wasn't really a kirana. It was like really posh things. Like lip gloss. And so Yeah, I mean, it started that way, and then Facebook was this start of everything.
But were you showing the process of how you were making those things, or
No.
just the end product?
Only the end product. Why would I show how I made it?
नहीं, और curiosity होती है ना लोगों
Today
के।
that is the case. Today people want to see the process
Yeah.
because they like the story. Back then, if you show your process, somebody else will take that idea because there was not many people doing it. At that time, it was very important to just put it out there that this is what is there available. You want it, you take it.
Yeah.
If you show your process, somebody else would do it. Now, if you show your process, people know that there are many already in the market. So they don't even
And
try.
authenticity is then justified.
That's true. I remember making like these pair of Kolhapuris that I painted, and I revamped the whole Kolhapuris. I gave it like, and some really big brand copied it. I'm not talking about Prada, no. That is now. But back then there was this page that copied the whole design of, and I said, I'll sue you. And they were like, go ahead. And I'm like, okay, now what?
Okay.
I said,
Now if it happens, you know who to come to.
But it's been a ride, and I think it's just taught me so much. Like, from then to now.
But tell me, how much of what was your pricing for the pieces that you were selling back in 2012?
It started from 30 rupees. I used to make these bows, like hair clips.
Yeah.
So I would like make it into bows and then paint little red, like white hearts on it.
Okay.
And I made sure like if it reaches someone, it has to be like beautiful.
Nice.
And it was 30 bucks. Just 30 rupees for that bow.
So you were shipping across India?
Yeah.
तो उसमें profit बनता था?
My profit was hardly like 20 rupees, 30 rupees, 50 rupees or whatever. But at that time, it was quite a thing.
Yeah, it gives you the confidence, right?
Yeah.
That you can do the business and sell it.
I did not have time to do anything. I was that packed because I was very reasonable. But like business wise, it really did not make sense.
Yeah.
Because you need to scale when you have a business. So I did this business and I started picking newer things. I started making bags for real. Like I went to Dharavi, sourced my leather. Then went to Baikala. You get like different types of findings and hardware for bags, chains, all of that. And I put all of that together. It took like 10, 20 days. And then I would have the bag ready.
Okay.
But that needed money. So if only I got an order, I could do that. Then I was like, okay, let me see what makes more money. Then I realized wall paintings makes more money. So I started making 5,000 to 6,000 to 7,000 to 10,000 to 15,000 with that skill.
Yeah.
Then I realized like making tattoos is also something that gives you a lot of money. So I became a tattoo artist when I was 19.
What?
Yeah. I learned it. I got the tattoo machine and I started like making tattoos. I think tattooed 50 people so far.
But लोग आते कैसे थे tattoo
Through my
करवाने?
Facebook page.
And
To my house. To my parents' house, yeah. And there was like, it was a very like hippie-ish type of a setup. It was like colorful. There was like a green wall and there was like a painting on that. There's birds flying, photo frames everywhere.
Your parents were very happy.
They were very happy for me and it was very unconventional how I started. So
Yeah.
my parents were always of the opinion, especially dad was a little confused. Like he had big dreams for me to become a doctor.
Acha.
And my uncles were administrators at big hospitals in the south. And I was very academically good. I was like a ranker and stuff like that. I don't want to be any of those, I said. And I said, I want to be a graphic designer. That's when I took admission in a college. And I did my graphic design for 3 years. And after that, I worked at Miss Malini.
Acha, you were working there?
Yeah, for some time. Then I worked at another startup. So I've worked at places. I know how startups run.
Yeah.
The pain points of startups.
Got it.
Yeah, and
But
then
they were not supportive of these small activities that you were doing initially in the house?
see, I come from a very middle class family, and they were really worried because they were worried for my future. So I wouldn't say they weren't supportive. My mom was very supportive, more than how much she should be expected of. I mean, so I feel it's so important for your parents to be a part of the support, you know. But I feel like how much do they know about what can happen? You know, every generation comes with some kind of an evolution. and they had no idea what social media is. My dad still does not understand at certain point.
Really?
Yeah, he does. He knows a lot. But it's cute every time he's asking me, okay, so now you're doing this and how does it benefit you? And I'm like, okay, sometimes it's not just about, like benefiting me. Like sometimes you just need an association. So he's like, okay. He tries to understand, and I think that's enough.
Yeah.
I feel you should just have an open mind. You don't need to be fully supportive, like, I will support you. Kids expect their parents to be that way. It's a great start if they are okay to have a conversation, to understand you.
Yeah.
And I feel it's also a child's responsibility to be that open-minded from their end, to be like, okay, I want to have a conversation with you. Sit down as a friend, as my father who can listen to me, as a mother who can listen to me. Sit down and listen to what I have to say and make them understand.
But coming back to your Facebook days, I wanna really ask you कि बाकी लोग भी कुछ ना कुछ कर ही रहे होंगे Facebook पे to build a community.
No, absolutely not.
क्या कोई नहीं कर रहा था?
No, that time the only things like e-commerce platforms that were available were like eBay.in.
हाँ.
And there was Flipkart had just come in, Amazon had just come in, and they were like, see, gin chun ke I knew of were like 5 to 6 pages that were doing something online.
Okay.
And it was a big deal to have an online, like a website, which was an e-commerce like portal, which had like a payment gateway. So I had set all of that up with the help of this friend. He then like told me, okay, now you've got to do it on your own. So this is how you run the backend. So I learned the whole backend of WordPress. Then I was like, okay, anytime I needed to change a product, I did it myself. So payments came through that.
But how did you build the eyeballs on Facebook so that they could come and shop from your website eventually?
I always had like a very unique page. It was always artistic. It was creative to some level. And when I started this Facebook page, I got a lot of trolls from among my friends. They watched what I was doing and they're like, what the hell are you doing? Why would you do this? They laughed at me, literally, like I'm sitting in a room and it's 3 of us and like they're literally watching it and they're laughing at my face.
Okay.
I don't care about it anymore.
Yeah.
But I think these things really help you.
Yeah, of course.
You either like sit down and be like, oh, everybody's going to laugh at me, or you like take it as a challenge. And thank God that I'm blessed with that, that I took it as a challenge. Like, okay, let me prove them wrong. And these things really helped. When people like laughed at what I was doing and made fun of like going online and, putting up videos, and it really helped me to be who I am. So I thank all of them.
Yeah, when you start online videos, people do make fun of you, and eventually when you reach somewhere, they're all like, oh, how did you do it? Tell us your story. So it's like a full circle, but only you are to trust yourself when it's the start of the journey.
The most supportive ones are the strangers on the internet, actually, because they don't know you. Your closer friends are people who should actually be there for you and be like, open about like, okay, my friend is trying something new. And I've had great friends, so that's not been a problem. Yeah. But growing up, I was a kid who had fewer friends. So it was quite tough to understand if I was doing the right thing in terms of that. But thanks for everything, no regrets.
Yeah.
And I feel I wouldn't have been here if, I had just friends just like cheering for me all the time. I think sometimes you just need some reality checks.
Correct. Do you remember your first Facebook post you made?
It was like I put up what I had done. Like We Love Custom Made. I said, okay, this is like my brand. I said, okay, I want to make a brand. And I said, okay, this will be something that I can make for people. So I put up stuff that I'd already made. There were a lot of art pages I saw on Facebook. Like people sharing like artistic things. I'm like, hey, I can do that.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, let me do this, but let me get paid for it.
Yeah.
That's when it really struck with people that, oh, like she will do it for you also. Because when I had it up and when I had that bedazzled phone case, everybody was like, can you make it for me as well? I said, yes, I'll do it for you, but you've got to pay me like $400.
Yeah.
And back then 400 was like a big deal, And I would do a really splendid job at their phone cases and everyone had it in college. It was so cool.
With the word of mouth, you started getting more
orders. Everybody's like, oh, my friend wants this now. Yeah. People saw it on Facebook. A lot of strangers got in touch because it was a very small place back then. Now it's so crowded.
But tell me, when you don't have followers, when the page is very new on Facebook, How did people discover you?
There was a discover page on Facebook also, like LinkedIn.
हाँ वैसे होता है क्या?
वैसे होता था, हाँ.
Oh.
If someone else has liked your post, then it would go to their feed. Like people nowadays, like when they take pictures, then when they're putting their August dump or, you know, like September dump, they add like little doodles.
Yeah.
I did it that time.
Okay.
I had this thing called pen tablet, so designers use it, like when they're like graphic designers. So I drew things over my photo and like, you know, I pointed at things and, you know, I have a great handwriting. So like it really helped with all of that, and I put it up, and that post went really like, it got a lot of views, like 200 views, like likes. And I was like, wow. Because it was a very fresh perspective to a photo. You know, there's a photo and there's things drawn on it.
Yeah.
You know, it was like a photo of me where I'm working. And I'm like making something. And I think I clicked it on my own. I kept a timer and I've done everything on my own. So I feel that's where the confidence comes from.
Yeah, no, it does help.
Yeah, of course it does. Yeah, so yeah, it was just a fresh perspective for me. It was a very fresh perspective, what I was doing. So it automatically garnered a lot of eyeballs.
The page is still active on Facebook?
It is there. On Facebook, it's there. Larissa_WLC is We Love Custom Made.
अच्छा ऐसा है क्या?
It's an honor to We Love Custom Made. I think it started from there. I also made like jewelry on that page with clay. I would model the clay. And it was really crazy things. I think I want to do that now for, not with clay, but with like gold. And there were like little teacups that I made with clay with my own hands.
Wow.
It always stemmed from my childhood. Like, even what I'm doing today, when I connect the dots, I'm like, that's why.
Do you believe in astrology and all?
I do believe in many things. I believe in a lot of spirituality, faith, astrology, numerology. I believe in everything.
So, usme, was it written that you will have a life full of travel and creativity?
Yeah. Now when I look, like when people read it for me now, like strangers, they do say that, like I'm meant to like create something out of travel.
Oh.
And like I am like supposed to go like dive deeper. They also say that at the age of 35, I'll be doing something insanely impactful for the world. I don't know how, but like there's this one person who read my horoscope and they were like, at 35, you're going to do something really impactful. And I was 29 or 28 at that time. At 35, you're going to do something impactful and it's going to help a lot of people all over the world. I said, like what? Like, like a public figure like Mother Teresa, that kind of impact, like Sadhguru. I'm like, are you serious? Are you sure you're reading my horoscope? Because I'm nowhere near that at the moment. I am very philosophical that way. You know, I truly believe in energies, and if you're upset with me right now, I would know.
Yeah.
You know, like I can read people like that. Like every time like Roshni comes in, I know what her mood is like. And I'll tell her, I think her mood is off. Go check. And she checks and it is off. So these things are very, very normal. I speak with my cat, which is very unique. I speak to her.
I've seen people speak to animals.
Yeah, animal communication. Right? Yeah. So I did a course at animal communication.
Really?
I know I can converse with my cat. Not like, you know, not like, hey, what's up? But I can understand her way better. There are things I implemented after that course and it changed my cat's personality altogether.
What?
Completely. She was an outdoor cat. Now she's an indoor cat. And the way she operates, the way she talks, the way she... just her mannerisms have changed. The way she looks at me has changed. You've got to convey your messages to her. And all this while my cat is like, you just treated me like a cat. When you should have just treated me like your own. Like, you know, like a pet. Like someone you want to be, like the way you want to be. Because with my dog, I was like the way I wanted to be. And he just latched on to that energy because he's a dog. But cats are not like that. Cats have their own vibe. Cats are supposed to be a certain way. And I'm like, okay, everybody's spoken about cats. Oh, you know, cats are not like dogs, but they're different. And I'm like, okay, that's how it is. So I treated her differently. But like lately, I've been treating her like I would treat a child or you know, like a dog.
But how did you sense that the cat is trying to communicate this to you? Treat me like your own, not a cat.
I hear voices.
Really? Like...
This podcast is going to be so funny. It's going to be so psycho. Oh God. No, like I hear her. I mean, it's just, it's just a response I get Like I ask her a question, I just immediately get a response. It's like I get a response.
Like you see the response with a physical action or you hear it?
I don't hear it, but I can sense it.
Wow.
You know telepathy? Yeah. So sometimes what happens, like when you call your mother and then your mom is like, oh, I was just thinking about you. What is that?
Huh.
You know? Or say, for example, you're thinking of a friend and suddenly they text you and you're like, oh, I was just thinking, what is that? You think.
Yeah. But with cats, I've unheard.
Or twins.
Yeah.
Twins, usually they converse without speaking.
Huh.
What's that? I feel that's like, or even kids or your partner, you know, sometimes, you know, Tom Holland and Zendaya, like if you look at their interviews, they're doing the same things the whole time.
Yeah. Okay, I did.
If he's doing this, she's also doing this at the same time. It's insane. So I feel these things are so, I mean, like people don't really like talk about these things or, you know, observe these things. But I am a person who observes the little things in life, in your animals, in cats or whatever, like, you know. And I feel it just gives me that joy. It's like my source of entertainment for the day. So I say, oh, Chiquita's my cat. And I'm like, oh, you know, Chiquita is feeling this today. And she does act like that throughout the day. Like there has been a time I asked her a question and I said something about Roshni. And she looked at Roshni and she's like, so it was a very, it was like a fun thing. She responded, you know.
Yeah.
It's not something serious. So don't, I'm not some animal whisperer here. But the timing is great.
Yeah, no, I think any object you train, even if it's plants, they'll start responding to your energies because
That's
the universe in general works like that.
Everything around you. I have too many plants at home. I call it, my house is called Junglisa. Jungle and Larissa. So it's called Junglisa. And it has a lot of plants. Every time I see plants are dying, I know the energy needs to shift. And it's at the same time is when I'm not in a good phase of life.
Oh.
Okay, plants are saying something. Everything is vibrant in life. They're all like thriving.
Yeah.
All my plants are like, hey, yay, you know. I wake up, they're all like happy. But there are days when I'm not very happy. They're all like very dull.
Yeah.
Or it's just in my head. You never know. But it keeps me going.
I want to see what her energy is for me. And then you're going to decode it.
And I did that for Roshni also. He loves Roshni.
Nice.
I think she just loves the right people.
Yeah, no, they can have that sixth sense, no, to understand
yeah.
who's right, who's wrong.
Yeah, I had a really bad help who was there for 2 months. She was very bad.
Okay.
Like she was very rude and she, like, Chiquita was really like, wow, around her. So, you know, I think like animals are very smart that way. We just think of them as pets or, you know, but I feel they are so like unconditional with their love and they have no negative intentions for you and they have no ill intentions for anything. They're just there to survive. So just imagine what kind of energy and power and like, you know, that warmth they hold. I feel like cats also teach you so much. They teach you about grace. They teach you so much about boundaries. They teach you so much about speaking when it's important. You know, also being a little like not selfish, but also knowing your self-worth.
Yeah. No, but give me an example of how your cat has taught you the self-worth.
Oh, she just is so like sassy. And like, I'm very like rowdy around her. You know, I'm like, hey, give me love. And she's like, do not touch me right now.
Yeah.
And I think I've become that person now. Like, I'm like, oh, you know, like I would not want to be needy anymore.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of anything, like be it like work-wise, relationships-wise, family-wise, whatever. Like, you know, I've become like a very, okay, like if I deserve this, I'll get it. Like I'm on a very different mode at the moment and I'm enjoying this. I feel she's brought that change into me in some way or the other. I feel there's a grace she walks with. No matter how she's running away from me, then she's like that poised again.
Yeah.
And then she's walking like that. Right. It's just switching gears is what I've learned from her. She runs when she wants. She's quiet when she wants. She sleeps when she wants. And I think that has in return like me how to shift gears in my life. I am a very fast-paced person. I would like to work really fast. Like I can do things that a person can do in like 15 days. I can do that in 1 day. See, to reach somewhere, okay? And if you think you have a potential, I feel everyone in life all of us have this potential. You have this potential, I have it. She has it, he has it, he has it. But I feel, do you have that will to tap onto that potential is what is important. And it's up to you to decide, like, what level do I want to reach at my potential? And I have decided I want to reach, like, to the max, you know? Like, I want to see what can I do at my max potential. And for that, you've got to do max work. You've got to do max, like, everything. You've got to max it out. But not at the cost of losing yourself. You've got to create that balance. So how do you balance your life at the back end, but run at an incredible speed? If you're going to be chaos outside, chaos inside, you're going to lose your mind. But if you're going to be chaos outside and calm within, then that's how it's supposed to be. Like today, we started the day and kind of overslept.
Huh.
And gosh, I'm like, shit, I just woke up.
When did you get up?
10 o'clock.
Normally, when do you get?
But I came here on time, like just 10 minutes late. Inside calm, outside chaos. Even today we started that way. I was like, oh shit. She's like, calm down. Today's day is going to be really calm and calming because we have 2 more things to do after this.
Acha.
Yeah, so I have to go home, get ready for Ganesh Darshan. We are vlogging the whole thing. I'm going to my followers' places.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
how you just announced that I
want to come to do like someone's house.
So people replied, come. But how did you choose किसके घर जाना है? इतने लोगों ने reply किया होगा.
We chose.
I want to know the criteria.
Some people who just responded with, come to my house. Hey, please come. It would be lovely if you could come to my house. I live here. Then there were people who replied with such big messages saying that I follow you from such a long time. I think I owe it to them. If they follow me from like 10 years and I have followers who follow me since the time I started. If they follow me from then, I think I owe it to them to meet them.
Yeah.
And my meetings with my followers have always been so wholesome. And like, I just always say that my followers are the best. And I feel they speak my language. And that is so important in this generation where there is an option to just give your opinion in the most rigid way or in the most opinionated way or the most entitled way. I feel it's so important to know how to convey your emotions or your feelings or your opinions. And when people do that, and that too when it comes from my viewers, I salute them.
Yeah.
I'm like, how are you like this? When I meet them also, they're all so intellectual. All my viewers are very intellectually sound. They're all like smart. They'll always have a conversation with me if they want to argue with me also. And I always give it back to them saying that, you know, I am so glad that we had this conversation and you did not debate. And they're like, of course, Larissa, I really respect you. You know, I've followed you from such a long time. That is so, so special.
Yeah, no, it is like same on LinkedIn for me. When I write about anything, people, instead of just commenting and giving their feedback, they will write to me in DMs so that it's not publicly embarrassing. And they will very subtly say that, you know, your fact is wrong. Do you mind correcting it? They don't even say that just correct it. What shit have you written?
That is so true. Like your vibe attracts your tribe is what I believe. I feel if your viewers are changing in like a bad way, then you should figure like, okay, what am I doing wrong? And luckily that's never happened for me. So I'm very excited to go for this Ganpati Darshan
How
today.
many are you going to?
2.
But out of these 2 people, why don't you share what they said, which convinced you?
It's going to be in my vlog, so please watch my vlogs if you want to know. They had like a really beautiful story. One home we're visiting it's run by like 3 women, like her mother and her grandmother. And he just said that we've been bringing Ganpati since I was like 2 years old when I fell sick. And, you know, it was like a mannat that, you know, my mom, you know, asked God for. And now we just continue doing that. Then there was another story which actually did not get through because her Visarjan, her Ganpati's Visarjan happened yesterday. So I couldn't attend yesterday. So I have to do it today. So this was a story that a girl who really wanted to bring Ganpati in her house, but her dad did not allow her. So she now that she's independent, this is the first year she's brought Ganpati to her house. So she's very happy about it. That was the story. So I feel these things are so something we can speak about, you know.
How do you get these ideas कि इस पे vlog करते हैं?
I think when you do something with an intention, you don't have to plan anything.
And what's the intention for you?
To celebrate with my followers. I want to see, because I feel festivals are so important. I feel like people really want to celebrate with their family and friends, but I'm very empathetic in general. So I like to share my happiness, and I want to see what kind of life they're leading. I want to understand them. I want to observe, like maybe immerse in their culture. It's something that even my travels are based on these things, you know, intentional travel and intentional everything. Whatever you do it with an intention. You do it with the right intention and it'll always pay off. My travel journey, my LD journey has been that. Always intentional. It's never been like, I want to get like 100 likes, 1 million this year. No, that's a bonus. That's a bonus, you know. But how many lives are you impacting, you know? Even if it impacts one person, like I post something and one person replies saying, you know, this helped me today.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow. I know thousands of girls have messaged me saying that they could follow their path because they believed in like how I did it. I don't come from privilege, you know. I come from a very humble background. And I always keep saying that if I can do it, I think anybody can do it. It's just about putting your heart and soul to it. Doing it with the right passion. And apart from this, I think also doing it with the right heart and not hurting someone on the way. That's so important. Because then you're carrying all bad karma.
Yeah, exactly. It'll come back.
And that bad, people don't believe in karma, but it's actually bad.
It's true, huh?
I have been so lucky when people have done bad to me, I can see it in front of my eyes, something go wrong with them. And I'm like, I'm God's favorite child. You know, like it's I've seen it happen. I'm like, thank you. I wanted to see it and you made it happen. And I feel, and then I forgive that person. So I feel like it's important to have these values. I think these values come from my parents.
Yeah.
They've always said that no matter what you do not do wrong unto others. And if you do, and like even like the religion I follow, like even that says that, you know, if you do wrong unto others, you do wrong to God. And I don't want to be that person. So I think you should just, it all comes down to doing anything with the right intention. But it just gives you the best output.
Yeah. Have you thought of doing life coaching also?
Me? Life coaching? I need some life coaching. See, I know how to live life as a Larissa. I'll give you a life coaching session if you want to do the same things I did. But I don't know what people should do otherwise. I do it like upar se I'll help you. But I don't want to make something into a career, something that I enjoy doing more, a lot. You know, I really like to help whoever like wants to ask for any help. And I go through a lot of issues myself. It's tough. I'm not saying that I know the solution to everything, you know. It's about like how you rise from the ashes. It's about how you rise from those problems is what makes you you and what makes you a very strong person. Everyone goes through problems. I feel people forget that everyone has issues. Like right now, I might look at someone, you know, like Elon Musk or Bill Gates, for enjoying life. They have so much money. But they also have issues. It's about like respecting that everyone has issues and everyone is going through something. So like learn to respect people's like, you know, and I feel it's just that people think everybody's living their life, but they don't know that.
You show your vulnerable side.
Always. Like, I feel it's very important for people to see that, this person is also going through something.
Yeah.
And you know, like I feel it's important to know that, okay, someone's with me. It's just the fact that people want to know ki, oh, someone's with me on this. There are times I post something and I'm like, am I the only one who's feeling this shift in energy? Is it the full moon? What is it? And you know, like people are like, oh shit, I've been feeling the same. You know, I've been going through the same thing. And it's all about community. I feel like just people want to be like a part of something. You know, that's why religion, for that matter, or, you know, like people get together for festivities. Everybody wants to do things together. It's a very human thing. Everybody is with you on this. So I feel the moment you realize that, everything changes.
But
Yeah.
do you have a community on Instagram, YouTube, and somewhere else as well?
I had a community on Discord.
Acha, fir?
I had like 10,000 people on that for the 4 a.m. community.
Okay.
So we used to all wake up at 4 a.m. and enter saying that, hey, we're awake, we're awake.
Oh.
Everyone had an accountability partner. I missed that. I missed that time. This was 2021. So yeah, like I was saying, 4 a.m. really put a very fast pace to my life.
How did this concept of getting up at 4 a.m. come into your life?
I feel everyone wakes up at 5 a.m. So I said, oh, I want to do something cooler.
Okay. But why would you want to wake up that early? Even 5 for that matter.
You get a lot of things done before the world wakes up.
Thoda, it's a sense of pride, is it?
It is. It is a sense of achievement. It's a different type of a dopamine spike. And like everybody starts their day at 11 and by 11 you're done with everything. You're like, hey, this is my report or whatever. This is my submission. My script is ready. And then the whole day till like 7 you have to yourself. And like because everyone's working that time so you can still work.
Correct.
When you start your day at 11 then you're done at 6 and 7. You're like, I want to sleep, and then you sleep at 11. Then you're still in that zone of like work. So you need to like wind. You know, it is very important to wind up like at the end of the day for a longer time than just like 2 hours.
Yeah.
Like, people are going to work and like traveling, commute is so much, like it takes so much time. It's exhausting. And I now feel I come from privilege because I am at a point now that I can work from home. So I feel very blessed about that. But it is.
Do you still get up at 4 a.m.?
No, I do not. I want to.
क्यों बंद क्यों कर दिया था फिर?
Because I'm having coffee in the day, like 3 cups of coffee.
Yeah, you need to stop loving your flat white.
No, but I think even with the coffee, I feel my work has doubled at the moment with the brand launch and everything. I'm working on 2 different brands throughout the day, and there are a lot of things that I'm doing on my own. So I like it. I like that challenge of being able to do that. It'll make a good story later on, you know.
Of course.
Yeah, it'll make a really good story later on that. Oh, you know, when I was 32 and I started building this brand, and I've read about so many founders, and they've all shared their story about how they relentlessly worked, and you know, and I feel I can do that. I am that person. I'm a workaholic, and I accept it. I would not want it any other way because I know when to switch gears. I know when it's family time. I know how to strike a balance. So I'm good with that. So when I'm working, I'm working.
Yeah.
When I'm working and there's 1 hour in the middle of the day when I have to meet a friend, I can do that and I can get back to work again. So it's cool with me. I love working and it gives me joy and it's very rightly balanced. If I explode one day, just let people know that it's because of this.
Oh my God. But I want to touch base upon your journey from Facebook to Instagram. How did that transition happen?
Instagram had just come in and it had just come out for iPhone users. I did not have an iPhone that time. I had a Samsung and I was waiting for Instagram to
BlackBerry नहीं था?
I had, but BlackBerry also did not have.
हाँ, उसपे तो नहीं था.
So yeah, and even my BlackBerry I brought with my own money, by the way. Just want to mention.
Cool stuff back then.
And I had a different green cover to it and all. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
So it was, Instagram had just come in and I think after 6 months I got it on my phone. And then I saw that people abroad are doing insane things. So I saw that people on Instagram were posting really aesthetic things, and I am a very visually, you know, like I get appealed really fast. So I was like, wow, how did they make this? And I observed a lot of profiles and I said, okay, this is doable. I just need to understand how they've edited this picture. So that's when I started looking for some editing apps that gave you the same effect. And I'm like, okay, this is like a shadow that's not looking like a shadow, but it's little faded. So that was adding a little, you know, very cinematic look to it. Colors are a little unique. It's not like your phone camera. There's some grain added to it. So I'm just good at observation in general. And I said, okay, let me replicate this edit on my pictures. Started doing that. didn't give me the same output, which is fine. I said, okay, I should have my own style. And people were like, wow, how did you do that?
What were you posting about?
Pictures of me with some cool clothes I wore to the church.
Huh.
You know, like I'm in my room and taking some selfies, but adding like a cool filter to it.
Okay.
And nobody was doing all of this that time. A lot of people started following me because I was doing things differently.
Huh.
I had much more followers than any other person. Not any other person, but like in a room full of like 100 people, I would be the one with like a lot of followers. So when people started having like 20, 30 followers,
Huh.
I had 500.
But like, as soon as you started posting, you saw many people start following you immediately.
No, not at all.
Then?
It was after a while. I think after like 6, 7 months.
Oh, after 6,
Yeah,
7
yeah, yeah.
months. You
So
were posting like pictures regularly?
Yeah.
Every day?
I was posting pictures. So I would look for photos. I would take something, frame it, add something, maybe make a photo. I would see someone has posted a picture of some cream in a certain way. I would try to replicate it with sunlight. And, you know, I just did the most basic things with whatever I had.
Yeah.
And it worked. People really liked it. Friends followed me in the beginning. And then slowly, steadily, like strangers started following me. That's when I realized like, oh, okay. But I didn't think that much at that time.
Huh.
And then there were new people who did not know me, started following me. And that time there was no DM. There was just comments. So even if you wanted to share your phone number with some stranger online, like I made so many friends who are also now creators, like big creators.
Nice.
So we met online on Instagram and she was also doing the same thing. So like, you know, posting something unique, and her boyfriend at that time was like a football friend of mine.
Huh.
So that's how we connected, and then we shared our number. So she goes to like a very old photo of mine and comments there, hey, this is my number. So I take it from there, then I delete that comment.
Yeah. Interesting. So that was this was in 2013 when you started Instagram.
2012, 2013, yeah.
Okay. And uske baad you had stopped your Facebook work completely.
Facebook was on,
Acha.
but then I made an Instagram page,
Huh.
and then things started picking up when Instagram started. Then I think there was this brand who got in touch with me saying, we want to send you some stuff. I said, why?
हाँ तभी नया था.
Yeah, that is when it started. We want to send you some stuff from our brand. We really like what you post, and we really think we want to gift you something. I said, what?
हाँ.
You want to gift me? So I said, okay, I send them my number, and they sent me like a book, and they sent me, I think I still have that book. Then they sent me a bottle. This is Krishna Mehta, India Circus. The brand. This was the first brand that actually sent me something.
Wow.
And then they sent me like a sling bag. So I did a whole post for them. I did like a blog post. I did an Instagram post. I did 3 Instagram posts.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I was so excited. I'm like, a brand gifted me something. And I said, oh, thank you, India Circus, for sending me this. The Westerners were already doing things like this. Like, you know, they were sending stuff to people who had like a large
You
following.
were 1920 back then when this happened. It must be
2021,
like a good sense of achievement.
I was working somewhere at that time. So people there were like, yeah, what is she doing? And then they had issues. Like some places I worked at had issues that I was doing this on the side. So after a point, I started earning out of it.
So
and then I started making as much as my salary was.
So you left it.
I didn't leave. I was fired.
You Really?
I was fired in 2016, 26th of August.
क्या reason दिया उनने?
They were downsizing the company. It was nothing personal. So there were 27 people who were fired. But I was fired. I am so grateful for being fired.
Yeah, then you got some space and time to create what you love.
Yeah. I was already doing that on my YouTube and stuff. Like 2012 or 2014, I started YouTube.
हाँ.
And
YouTube पे what were you posting initially?
DIY videos.
वो जो बनाते थे आप वो सब. Okay.
DIY videos, how to make a crop top out of leggings.
अरे उस पे तो बहुत views आते होंगे.
उसमें बहुत views आए थे.
हाँ.
How to make a high ponytail. That's my highest viewed video. It is so stupid. I have braces on and, you know, making some really funny faces. And it's like a 1-minute video.
हाँ.
And it's nothing. I'm just like wearing a pony and I'm like pulling it like this. And I'm like, this is how you make And people have commented saying, oh, what was so unique about this?
Yeah.
I've got a lot of hate on that video. But it really hit like a lot, like I think 5 million or something. So at that time it hit 100K very fast, and then it hit like 500K, and then it hit 1 million. But anyways, like, I got a lot of followers from that.
Okay. How did the journey of travel begin?
We used to always go to our ancestral home in Bangalore, my parents and me and my brother. So when I started my YouTube journey, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna vlog this. I took my camera and all my relatives were all like, oh, wow, like she's gonna film here.
Yeah.
And then it's a very unique place, you know. It's like by the river and there's like no houses around. And there's a cow shed. Then we have like 2 dogs. Now we have goats. And there are some chickens just like flying around and, you know, monkeys that come to the property many times. It is a very... I filmed there. I put it up on my YouTube and people loved it. They were like, wow, this is so cool. Some people were like, oh, this is not Mangalore. This is some village in Mangalore, which was right.
Yeah.
But I was like very young to put it as like, oh, this is like, I just said a trip to Mangalore, you know.
Okay.
So it was not the city Mangalore.
And then you would do a voiceover or speak as you were showing around?
Just speak to the camera straight up. And oh God, it's so hideous, that video. Like I've straightened my hair and, you know, I've put some red lipstick and I have a hat on me and I'm like very posh and like in a cow shed. I'm like, so guys, we are here. And you know, that time, like I was not very confident to be myself, you know. Maybe I didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
So I would just copy other
What you saw,
YouTubers. Yeah. And now when you go and see my videos, it's so cringy. Oh my God. I love it. I love that I can see how I've evolved.
Yeah.
And I can watch it like with 1,000 people in the same room. I can watch it because this is who I am today after being like that.
And you would post these vlogs on Instagram also?
Like I would put the thumbnail on Instagram saying that I made this video, go watch it. People would go watch it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's how your travel journey had started.
Yeah, like I say, like always make use of your resources.
Correct.
You don't need to be rich to travel.
Yeah, it's a myth, you know. You can just go travel to the nearby location you have.
My best travel videos have been from the most simple places. So I feel like it's all about what is the story you want to tell.
Yeah.
It's very important how you want to portray a place in your style.
Which was the first few equipments you bought for vlogging?
I had a Nikon camera, which I brought for 25,000 rupees. And
how did you invest so much of money at 20? Through your
whatever money I had.
You were working at?
And like I said, my mom was very supportive. So she took an EMI for me. My dad was really against it. He's like, what are you... Like, they had no idea where this is going. So I feel like he's like, what are you like putting money in? And then she's like, no, let's... And
so
I did.
Camera you got for 25,000. The tripod?
No, I held it with my hand. And then after I made the first video on the Nikon, I realized that the audio is really bad. So I said, okay, I need to get a mic. I spent like 600 rupees to get like a mic, lapel mic from Amazon. So that I did. And then I think I started making money on my own. That's when I worked. Because I did this for the longest time. And then I started We Love Custom Made at the same time. And I was also going to college. And then I realized that I am not a good businesswoman at that age. And I need to make money to sustain. So everyone's like, get a real job. So I got a real job. I worked at a media company. Then I worked at a startup. Then I made my own money. And I also got a good job in these companies because I had all this background. When my friends had a salary of like 8,000 at their companies back then, the salary was like that. Internship was 3,000 per month. When my friends had like a monthly salary of 8 to 12,000 max, I bagged a salary of 35,000.
Really?
Yes, at that time, because I had so many skill sets. And so much of like knowledge on like so many things with in terms of design, social media and all of that.
Oh, because you were already implementing it for your page.
Yeah, so they were like, okay, this girl already knows a lot, so let's get her. She'll be a good asset. And then from 35, my jump to the next company was double.
You got 70?
Yes, at 21.
Oh my God. And you were handling social media there?
No, I was a graphic designer.
Acha, graphic designer?
Yeah. Crazy. Because I passed out my college as a graphic designer who specialized in illustration. But you've got to have some skill sets for that. And I feel like when you come with that, like with so much of like background, like I can do this, I can do so many other things. I knew how to edit YouTube videos. I knew how YouTube works, and I knew how social media works. Even today, people don't know, you know. I knew how like this new age marketing works, which many people did not have an idea of, and I was already doing it. I was getting brand deals. So this was very new. To come with that skill set and to come with that database already added to the company.
Which was your first brand deal paid, which you got on Instagram or YouTube?
I think I got paid 5,000 rupees to post for this brand called Misamore. And they're friends now, you know, and they started paying bloggers, like people online, to wear their outfit and put a picture. And I was like, what?
इसका भी पैसा मिलता है.
I said, what? You will pay me and I can keep the outfit. I said, how does this work? And I was so stunned. They said, we'll send you 2 outfits. And we'll give you 5,000 rupees. You have to make a blog post about it. Blog page also. You've got to make a blog post about it and you have to post it on your Instagram. I said, done. And I would work like Monday to Friday, and Saturdays and Sundays I would work on this. So I would get my camera out, ask my friend to photograph me, and then I would write the blog, edit my YouTube videos. So I worked like all days. You got to hustle, man, to be wherever you are. And no holidays for me. I was so happy, excited. Ki, oh, I can do what I want to do. And you know, people are looking at it. People are enjoying it. People are liking it. And at the same time, now I'm getting paid for it. So that happened. And then 1 week, they sent it to me on Monday. And like by Wednesday, I got it. And by Saturday, Sunday, I sent it to them. They're like, oh, we're sending you 1 more. And then the next week, I got like, so in 2 weeks, I got 10,000 rupees.
Wow.
They're like, we'll actually send you every week. So I started making 20,000 rupees extra.
Oh my God.
In the month. And then I'm like, wait a minute. If I do this more, then I can make much more money in a shorter span. In like, if I'm doing this in 2 days and I'm getting this much, it doesn't make sense for me to do this job. And then I started getting more brand deals. And then I asked a person, there was this one girl, I asked her like, will you be like a person who can connect with the brands? And she said, okay. Her commission was 30%. So she said, okay. And then she suddenly hiked my prices. And then she said, I'll get you this brand. And then Colgate got in touch with me.
After you reached out to them?
No.
Organically it came.
Yeah. So Colgate got in touch with her. So it does help having a manager.
Okay.
And they said, we want a YouTube, you know, like a video. I said, I can't make a video that I'm brushing my teeth, right? So I said, I will integrate it in such a way that I talk about my smile, you know? So that's when the creativity started, you know, with my branded videos, and it's still there, you know? So it was, the video was more like with this smile, like my smile is sponsored by Colgate and stuff like that.
Oh.
Yeah, and it was fun, and that's when it started, like, it was actually paying me more money. And yeah, I think the boss of that startup was also like a friend at that time. So I did convey this, which was my mistake. They were like, this girl is making more money on the side. Then she's doing this. So then I think it also made sense for them to. And I was thinking of like, okay, I'm making more money here on the side. So should I spoke to my mother, like, should I quit and then actually spend more time in this? So she's like, okay, think about it. And the end of the week, I was fired.
Oh.
I manifested it.
Yeah.
Anyways, wanted this. Why am I crying?
That's quite intense. The kind of experiences you've had at a very young age.
Yeah. And I'm glad it was at a young age, because at that time you're so like little.
Yeah.
You're not very affected by many things. You're just in like a very delusional zone, I feel.
Yeah.
I was very delusional when I was a kid. And I think that helped me in some way or the other.
And how did you evolve your content journey through these years? How was it back then and how is it now? Because you have actually seen a shift in what consumers want to see now. And as they also evolve with so much of choices that they're seeing on the internet, you have to cater to them differently.
I think it's always been very different from others. I like to believe that. And I think I've been told that also. And like I mentioned earlier, I think when you do something with an intention, it just shows.
Yeah.
And if you do it for it to be viral, it can show. So I feel when you need to touch people's hearts for something. I feel like my formula of going viral is touching someone's heart.
Yeah.
And it can go viral. But I wouldn't look at content and be like, let's do this because this will go viral.
Yeah.
I have tried, but I don't feel content about it. I know the formula to go viral. I know it.
What is it?
It is just making a really good hook. And then I know like, okay, this is going to like really shift in people's heads, and then they're going to like, and then they're going to share. Something shareable.
Yeah.
A quote that's very like, oh yeah, I relate to this, shareable. Something about love, something about like, you know, women feeling a certain way, something about heartbreak. These things work. And I know that I can go viral and I can make like 10 back-to-back viral videos. I know it.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's my style. And I don't think I want to do that. Maybe once in a while, I'm not denying that. I am a content creator after all.
Yeah.
And I keep experimenting with my stuff. But I feel like my audience knows that Larissa is not someone who will just do it for likes. And I think it shows in my work. And I feel like God is watching. And He knows that I do it out of my passion for helping and impacting lives. So that's it.
Yeah. Do you ever feel, I mean, right now you must be very grounded with all the spirituality that you are into, but did you ever have any feeling of insecurity while seeing other travel creators also emerge and become much bigger in a shorter time span as compared to you? Because as humans, we always
Compare.
healthily compare, or not so healthily sometimes. But tell me about that phase when you would feel that pinch कि ये इतनी जल्दी कैसे ग्रो हो गए, ये तो मेरे कितने बाद आए थे.
I feel as humans, we all tend to feel like that. But these are emotions that keep coming. Emotions like jealousy, hate, envy, and wondering like, how? I've had those. But then what's important is how you deal with those emotions. And I have always dealt with these emotions as when a person deserves something, they get it. So if they're going ahead of me, they deserve that. Nobody gets what they don't deserve. They always get what they deserve. I believe in that, and I feel everyone, if the sun is shining bright on someone, it's not going to shine less on you. So I feel like the best way to deal with that is like, be happy for them. How is that going to reduce something from your life?
Yeah.
If you're going to be happy for someone, God is not going to be like, or you know, the universe is not going to be like, oh, because you're happy for them, let's take this away from you. It's never like that. And I feel it's always important to just be happy for everybody's journey. You are happy with that. You will feel happy with that. I feel the more jealous or the more you compare, you're going to feel drained and exhausted. And I feel the more you're happy for others, it will show in your work also. And that's why, like, whenever my peers or travel creators or just content creators, when someone's starting a new business, I feel so happy for them. I genuinely feel so excited for people. Like, wow, yeah, like this person is going to start a new journey. What this person must be going through. This must be a good feeling. I also relate because I'm also doing the same things. And I'm like, yeah, I hope this thing goes well for them. Like, yes, I just feel happy for everyone doing well. But the moment you start comparing, you stop, you know, it shows.
Yeah.
There have been moments where I've compared myself to others. I had a very bad phase also. And I compared myself and it showed in my work.
Like,
And
how was the work different in that time?
it came from a place of like, I want to win. And that's not a good place. The place you should always come from a place of, I'll do my best. And you know, like, that's all. I will do my best. And I think that's what should be everybody's attitude. I think it'll change so many things.
Yeah.
And it's just about doing the inner work. And I think that is what people avoid.
Because
with
the
what you
media
are.
industry can just drag you down if you're mentally not so strong.
Exactly. And I feel like there are so many things that result like a person losing their mind over fame and fortune, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's all about dealing with fame and fortune in the best way. I'm glad it came to me like fame and fortune or whatever. It came to me slowly and steadily.
Yeah.
Because I've had that kind of like my pace has always been slow and steady wins the race sort of a thing. I've never been that overnight viral sensation. And I'm glad, although I've had dreams that, oh shit, I've just reached 1 million. I've had dreams. This year we're going to do it.
But, before I come to your different kind of travel experiences you've had and the new business that you've started with your distribution power on social media,
Right.
I want to ask you about monetization opportunities in this industry of content creation, especially when it comes to travel. You can start by telling me how has it evolved for you in terms of how much a brand pays, what do they really seek out of a creator in the partnership, and generally tell us what are the pay ranges in terms of brand collaboration.
I think whenever you work for a brand, you should deal with it in the most professional manner, one thing. Secondly, I think what has worked for me is always doing much more than asked. I feel it's important. I look at every client as, like they're putting in that money in you and they trust in you, they believe in you. So they want you to do something for them. It's like, they rely on you. And I feel that is such a sweet gesture. That's just me, okay? But I feel it's actually a very sweet gesture that they rely on you for this project. And they're like, we're going to give you some money and you've got to make us this ad on your own. And I feel like you've got to do it in the best way possible, the best you can. And I just do that. If I'm asked for making like a branded reel, I'll put in all my resources, whatever I can. I put in a lot of money in the production also. Now I can. But even before, when I couldn't, I used to always make sure that it is up to, like, it's the quality is always like a thing. Like, it has to be a really good quality video. So it's just been like a great journey with brands because I have worked with the best brands, many Fortune 500 brands, many global tourism boards. And I think they see that value in me because I do what's asked of me and much more. And it's just been great to work with them because I think they also see, okay, this person can add that value to our brand. And I see that, I want to work with this brand and I want to do the best I can. I worked with so many tourism boards, Australia, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Sri Lanka, USA, Canada. I can't even remember many more. I think there's so many.
What do they ask out of you? What do they want?
Oh, yeah. I've also worked with National Geographic. It's always National Geographic. Yeah, National Geographic I've worked with. And that has been the most biggest, I think, credibility, wise for me. And I think it's validation.
About that collaboration with National Geography.
I hosted 4 episodes for them. So I'm on TV as a travel host. And it all started from there. I remember in school, there was this geography period and our row made a unique experience. We had to talk about each country in a certain way. I suggested to my group saying that let's do a travel show. So we all pretended I called that show Globetrotter with Larissa Dees or something like that. We were talking about foods in different places and I spoke about the different things like cultures, and I think it started from there. It's a full circle now. So to do a show for them, talk about cultures, immersing into some culture, and then I can speak about it on camera. And I feel it's just it's beautiful what I can do with my passion.
And these international tourism boards that reach out to you, do they make you fly down to their country so that you can explore that and show that to your audiences?
Yeah.
That's the partnership.
They pay you sometimes. So there is, sometimes there's a production fee. Sometimes there's just a creator fee. So I do both.
Okay.
So I can produce also for a tourism board, and I can also just be a creator and just post it on my social media.
Okay.
When you're a producer and you're doing the production for them, you're giving them rights and, you're giving them that content and you can do anything with it. But as a creator, you're just putting it on your social media pages and that's it. So I can do both. I can also be behind the camera. I can also be in front of the camera. These are skill sets that I've developed throughout the years.
Yeah.
Why do I talk as if I'm some...
You turn 80, you talk like that.
Sometimes I just feel like I speak like that.
This must be very interesting that it's just like Netflix telling you that you're a great director. Go do whatever you want, then give it, this is your budget, produce.
Yeah.
And then you come and sell it back to...
It's not very simple actually. It goes through a lot of iterations, especially when you do for Platforms like Netflix and Nat Geo, there's a lot of iterations that go through it. So for Nat Geo, I just hosted the thing. I didn't produce it for them. The whole direction and everything, I could be myself, but they directed the whole thing. There was a director, there was a DOP, and they had a big team.
But a script as well?
There was a script like an intro to every place. But what I'm feeling, oh, yummy, and stuff like that. That was not scripted. But I'm speaking with them, talking to them about like I can do on my own. Other things like
Which was the thing you produced? Give
I think this thing for Bahrain, I did for Bahrain tourism, and then some other stuff also that I did.
Okay.
And I feel like there are many ads that we're doing right now that are used as ads, and then like they're run on TV now. Stuff like that.
Nice.
So it's insane. Like
you've come on billboards?
Yeah.
Which one?
Lakme.
You did what? Ad film for them?
I did like a campaign for them.
Oh.
Like a beauty campaign.
Nice.
But I want to do like a much more, I think beauty campaign and all is cool. But I feel what is more me is something around travel.
More impactful.
I feel like more of who I truly believe I am. The thing is, my life, everything is documented. So anything I manifest, the manifestation of the process is also documented.
Oh.
So I have it all.
Nice.
Yeah.
So tell me, how can a content creator start creating content in today's age of Instagram when it comes to travel? What are the new gaps which you're seeing? Maybe in luxury, sustainability, or any other purpose-led initiative where you think good content can be created?
I think, purpose-led initiatives is one thing that people don't tap on. I think everybody's so busy with giving out itineraries. But
Correct.
But today your ChatGPT can give you an itinerary.
Yeah.
I got my whole itinerary sorted for my Phuket trip that I did. Phuket trip for Mothai when I went for like my training. Sorted it all out on ChatGPT. I asked, okay, which one will be closer? Why this? Why that? And it gave me all the answers. So I don't think you need, like, do something that you're unique at.
Yeah.
Do not do something that the computer can do.
Yeah.
But I don't expect everyone to be like skilled, like we are all built differently.
Yeah.
But I feel like if someone can tap into doing something while traveling, like adding a purpose to it, that's very important.
You think
I wish I could do it.
Yeah.
But I feel I have a lot on my plate right now. I am already doing it.
Yeah.
With many things. But I want to do more. I want to be that person who, like, I want to like generate that much revenue that I can give back.
Yeah.
I'm doing as much as I can right now. I'm giving back as much as I can with whatever I say and with whatever I do. But I feel like I want to give back in a much more tangible form also. That's always been my thing. I feel like even when we have screenings and whatever, I make sure that we do not make any profit out of it. In fact, we go into losses, but we make sure the experience the person has had is great,
Yeah.
I feel it's very important. Like, I like it when people are happy because of you. And if something like that can happen through Instagram, then nothing like it. This is the modern day Mother Teresa vibes.
Yeah. See, it's coming already.
It's coming.
Somehow.
You've got to hang out more. You're going to see me with her at Kitchen Garden now.
No, with your answers also, I'm getting a lot of ideas for myself.
It's very important to meet the right people at the right time. Yeah.
No, but do you see any grey area in luxury travel market? Because in fashion and all, we have so many creators. But luxury particular travel, I don't see many.
What do you mean luxury travel
like people
gaps?
who are showing properties like Six Senses, who are luxury and sustainable, because there are so many more in the world, but people don't know about them.
Yeah, I think the brand and the creators should go hand in hand with that. I feel like when you come from that privilege and when you come from so much money and you have the power to travel to these luxurious properties, I feel there should be more options to indulge in much more like, deeper activities, connecting with yourself. And people are doing that with a lot of experiential properties and stays where you can meditate and then your sound healing and all of that. But I feel there can be so much more that can be done.
Yeah.
When you come from, I think when you've come from so much money, or if you're at that level of, being able to travel there and do all of those things, I feel then you're very much sorted in life. Then I feel it's always about giving back. So I don't know. I can't really think of something right now.
But you don't see many creators in that bracket, right?
No, I don't. When it's luxury, it's all about luxury.
Yeah.
I feel luxury with an intention is so important.
Exactly.
That's what I'm doing with my brand.
We're gonna come to that. But right before that, tell me, what kind of money can a content creator who's a travel vlogger make on Instagram and YouTube at different ranges of following that they have, starting from 10K to more and more?
It can go up to 15 lakhs or much more, depending on what kind of stuff you take up and how many campaigns you take in a month. It's the money you can make is infinite. It's on how much you can take on.
Yeah.
You know, and I am not a pure travel creator. I do other stuff also, because I've always said you do what you're good at. And I'm good at makeup,
Yeah.
at hair.
Can
You know,
see that.
you said, who did your makeup and hair? I said, I did it myself.
Very unusual for any creator, by the way.
Yeah,
to
I
do
feel it took me 10 minutes to do this.
Wow.
And a
It's
makeup-
sustainable in time also.
Yes, because when you're traveling, you need to be very quick.
Yeah.
You know, so I can do this in the car also. So I
Yeah.
feel like it's so important to do everything on your own when you start off as, you know, travel, whatever. Like when it comes to beauty, I cover a lot of genres. That's beauty, travel, fashion, skincare, everything, tech, moto, everything. So I feel like it's great. Like I'm living my life and I use these things every day. So it's not about, people follow me for Larissa. So I created a brand for Larissa. I didn't create a brand for travel creator. Larissa.
Yeah.
You know, I'm Larissa, the travel creator. Whatever I do, my audience is like, okay, today she's showing us how she does her makeup. Today she's showing us the Durga Puja she's covering at Kolkata. And today she's going and attending some person's house. And I feel like it's important to just be diverse. It really helps.
Yeah.
And I've been saying this from the beginning of my career. But people kept saying that, pick a niche. Pick a niche. Oh, just do one thing. Why are you doing everything? And I said, but I am good at everything.
Yeah.
People are not. What is that? That's not my problem. So I am going to do everything. And now it's come down to, oh, don't have a niche. You know, you should do everything. I said this right at the beginning. So I feel it's a lot of things. I mean, you can make money through a lot of things online. You just have to, it's a lot of money you can make online.
Yeah.
But it's about how you make it.
But once you've touched 10K followers, do brands start approaching?
You have 2,000 followers, brands will approach you.
Huh.
Yes, of course. I mean, you've got to show good work. You need to have a portfolio, that's it. And when I say portfolio, I'm not saying you need to do incredible things, but you should show what your potential is. So people should look at you and be like, oh, this person has posted all of this on their page, so this person will be able to do this. Because now I'm also working as a brand. You know, so I am looking at these things also.
Correct.
So I can see, okay, I would want a 5,000 followers person also to maybe, you know.
Yeah, maybe they might be having more buyers in their audience as compared to someone who has 1 million followers and who won't buy anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's always like that.
And tell me the money range, average. Like for one Instagram reel, how much do brands pay?
They are okay to pay anything.
Generally, जितना सुनने में आया है.
नहीं बिल्कुल नहीं.
सुनने में जितना है.
नहीं बिल्कुल नहीं. But I'll tell you, like cricketers and celebrities, or they charge like, there are cricketers who charge around like 60 to 70 lakhs per like reel.
Wow.
So you can only imagine.
Yeah.
See, I'm putting all of the money that I'm making into my brand. So you can make an assumption, whatever.
How much investment you would have
And I
needed?
worked for 15 years. So think of that also. Yeah. I also have a team.
Correct.
I have responsibilities on me. You know, I have to pay salaries. I have to build a brand. I have to pay for performance marketing. There's a lot that goes behind everything. So it's...
But you never did performance marketing for your own brand, right?
Never.
Yeah. No, but tell me now, stepping into the beautiful jewelry brand that you've created, I want to know what exactly led to its creation. Was it the power of distribution that you already had on your Instagram and YouTube, which made you think that, okay, if I launch any product, I can sell it, I'll at least have my first 100 customers with me? Or was the intention behind creating this something different, something which came from within?
I've always been very expressive with the way I portrayed myself. And gold is another part of the story. But I've always experimented with the way I dressed up. You know, suddenly I have like, I'll share these pictures with you, which you can use in the podcast also. like I'm just playing with my friends, but we'll pluck some trees and we'll tie it on our on our heads and we'll make an outfit out of it.
Huh.
I've always been that
Yeah.
weird person.
And why not launch a fashion brand? Clothing
Because I
brand?
have a lot of favorite fashion brands.
तो jewelry मेरे कोई पसंद नहीं है.
I feel I can do better.
Yeah.
I think I can do better.
Yeah.
And I think I've loved jewelry so much. I'll tell you, like when I was, and I understand how gold is also like an investment. I'll tell you how. Like when I was a kid, whenever I would have a fight with my parents, I would leave the house with a bag
Huh.
and nowhere to go. But I would take my gold chain and my gold bangle because I knew that I can survive by selling these.
Yeah. Okay.
So I knew, okay, this is gold, this will increase in price, and I can sell these and I can get money and I can sustain and I can live on the streets or whatever, you know. So this was my ideology and I knew this about gold. But growing up, like I've always like worn like many rings in my hands and, you know, I would buy these 10 rupee rings from the shop. And when I was a kid,
ओ तभी अभी तो कहीं है.
बिल्कुल नहीं.
100 के नीचे कुछ नहीं मिलेगा.
नहीं. So that time like 10 rupees, 5 rupees was the lip gloss.
हाँ.
You know, 10 rupees was this ring, then 20 rupees was the better ring. So, you know,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh wow, you know, like I really like this. And it's all like come together in such a beautiful manner. Like, you know, when I started traveling and I started doing this online and, you know, I'm documenting everything. Everything is online. There's beautiful videos. I'm like, okay, I want to do more.
Yeah.
I'm craving to do more with this. So I said, how do I make my experience and my moments, everything that I've learned from travel, how do I make it tangible in like a physical form? So it took me a while to, you know, do this. I made a restaurant at one point in Goa. I built it with like all my travel experiences, curation together. It was like, there was a swing that goes into the river, like a big swing. I did the whole place up. I did the branding. I did the marketing. And then I didn't align with it after a year. So I stopped working on it.
Why?
I just didn't align with the operations of this.
Usme also you put in your money fully to launch a restaurant.
Some bits of like different ways of like, you know, investment.
Yeah.
So I feel it's so important to align with what you do. And when a lot of people are involved, I think you just don't go with it.
Yeah,
So I said, okay, fine. I've done a lot of like entrepreneurial ventures in my past. So I started with the restaurant in 2022 and then like 1 year, and then the jewelry brand I started working on in 2020. I'm like, okay, I started making some pieces and We Love Custom Made. You know, I was making jewelry then. I'm like, okay, I know how to make this. And I started making things online, like at home with some stones. And I said, you know what? I made a mistake when I started. If I do something handmade, I will not be able to scale it. So let me make something that's exclusive that I don't have to make for 100 people. Instead, I'll make for one that makes more sense, more intentional. What can that be? Okay, let's not use clay. Let's use some material that's much more like premium, expensive, gold. And I'm like, okay, gold is also an investment. It increases in value. So that way, I'm not just adding it to like a fashion space. I'm adding it to a very sentimental space, you know, like gold is something that comes with sentiment. It's very emotional at the same time. It's also like, so it's like emotions and investment rolled into one.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, this makes perfect sense.
Like natural or lab grown diamonds.
I use that.
But gold is the foundation.
Yes, I mean, you have to make your jewelry in some metal, right?
Yeah.
So we also make silver.
Okay.
And we also make gold. We can make platinum.
Yeah.
But we do not at the moment.
You customize?
I can also customize.
Okay.
I have a lot of like custom clients, and like we design them in house. So it's not like some pieces that you just see online. It's like we design them with our design aesthetics in place and our principles in place. We work a lot with duality of metals. So there's warmth of gold and coolness of silver. It's with that intention of creating something tangible with travel experiences. This is not just a piece of jewelry. It is something that's made with a story.
Yeah.
So
give me an example of a piece which reflects a story.
Like this ring that I'm wearing here. It's a butterfly. Like I'll give it to you so you can look at it.
With a blue stone, huh?
Yeah, so these are aquamarines on the side and it's an opal in the center. It's a fire opal from Australia. And the gold bits that you see is 18 karat gold. So this was one of my first few designs. It's called the Metamorphosis. Butterfly is known for, you know, they think that it's the end, when they're in the cocoon, but they actually like a beautiful butterfly.
Yeah.
So I feel like at the end of every journey, everyone feels like, oh, this is it. But no, there's much more.
The website also reflects story behind the articulation. Yeah, because reading that only people will be like, wow, ye khareed lete hai.
Exactly. It is my bestseller, this ring. And that's why even the earrings I made after being like, okay, this is a bestseller, let's make more. There's a choker with like pearls. And I feel like everything is sourced from like really beautiful places. Everything is handcrafted in India. So with that intention of also taking the Indian market globally, I really like want to make this brand that brand, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I feel I have that credibility when it comes to travel, you know, and I have those stories. These are first-hand stories.
Tell me one travel story through which you created a piece of jewelry.
Every jewelry piece.
कुछ incident होगा जिसपे कुछ अतरंगी बनाया है.
ऐसे तो बहुत सारे हैं, but I think there is this choker that I have. It was from this trip. It was inspired from the trip of Vietnam that I did. It was not a very good trip. However, although like everybody loves Vietnam and people have good experiences, I've had a very bad experience. I felt sick, and I remember the last spot was the train, the cafes that are by the railway tracks. I have a really nice memory from there. So I made that into like, so there's this choker that is like crisscross. And it's a very beautiful choker. It really revamps any outfit. Like you wear a very simple outfit and you wear that choker, it just elevates your look.
Nice.
So I feel like every time, I just like connected it to my Vietnam trip. Like, okay, you know, this trip, I went through this trip, but actually it elevated my whole way of looking at life. And you know, the way I look at travel now. I feel like that has that whole story behind it.
Wow.
And yeah, I mean, the website does speak about all of this, and I have great people working on the brand. I have great mentors for the brand, and this is just the beginning. It's not even been a month since we launched again.
Oh, just like right now.
6th of August we launched.
Crazy, yeah? I'm glad we're doing the podcast after that.
Yeah, and I think this is the podcast I did after the brand launched.
Acha.
The brand was on, like I started working on it in 2020. I launched it in 2022. It was running for a year, and then I took a breather because I wanted to reinvent the brand.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, okay, no. It needs to be the way I want it to be.
How was it back in 2022, the brand?
It was nice only. Everything was great.
Of course, yeah.
I just feel I needed to step back and look at it from a third person's perspective and be like, okay, will this be like, this has to be beyond me. That's why it's called Beyond Larissa.
Achha.
It's beyond. It's actually like, it's a thing like it's supposed to be beyond. It's beyond. You need to understand your potential beyond yourself. And the brand is about that. The brand has evolved me. Like the brand is everything I want to be.
Okay.
It's beyond me, you know.
तभी stories नहीं थी jewelry में.
I just needed to like put it better.
And what are the price ranges? Minimum starting
Starts from
price?
4,000.
Okay.
Starts from 4,000, goes up to like 7 lakhs.
Wow.
I do. Some of them are not listed right now, but I have pieces that are like, you know, if they're like diamond pieces, they get expensive. And gold is just rising right now. So all my inventory also, as a businesswoman, all my inventory also is appreciating in value, which doesn't happen with any other business.
Exactly.
You know, my inventory is actually working for me on its own. So I feel like even as a business, it's a very good idea. Yeah, of course, you have to put in a lot of work into it, but I think it's all like worth it.
And where are you manufacturing these?
Jaipur, Ahmedabad, Mumbai, Bangalore. It's all about like giving the best I can to the audience in terms of experience and all of it.
Yeah.
And like from the moment they order till the time it reaches you, even our packaging is so like it's meant to be a keepsake.
Yeah.
So I'll actually send you a video of our packaging. It's beautiful. It's something that you can keep for the rest of your life. So, you know,
Nice.
it's everything comes with it. So
And it's sustainable.
yeah, no, it's not. You can't put this online.
No, I won't. Just an idea.
Packaging, yeah, of course. I mean,
na?
like I try as much as I can. I'm doing like sustainability in terms of how it's made and stuff, you know.
Got it.
I'm trying as much as I can.
Yeah. And then when you started this jewelry brand on day one, did you start like hyping it up much before? And then when you launched it on your social media channels. What
Yes,
kind
I
of
did.
website traffic you got?
I got an insane like traffic.
Huh.
We got insane sales as well. I have a set of loyal people, you know, they trust me, and I will never lie to my audience. It's so important to give them what they've trusted you with. So I make it a point, my product is on point, everything is so on point, and I try to give them the best experience.
Wow. How did you market it?
We've been just going all out with our social media content. I think content speaks for itself.
But I want to know, how did you promote it on your personal page? The first post.
It's ongoing right now. We had a series of launch posts. Like we had 7 to 9 posts that went before the launch, and everything was so curated so well. And I feel it's like our work speaks for itself, and the effort we've put into the social media also, which a lot of people don't do with their brands. And because that's like I'm an expert at that.
Interesting. But we'll close this very interesting conversation with a quick rapid fire around some of your crazy travel experiences.
Let's go.
Yeah. All right. So I know you've shared a lot of your travel moments publicly, but one particular travel moment that you've never shared publicly yet. कुछ तो होगा ऐसा?
Oh, I'll tell you. I was in Jaipur. It's a very sad one.
Oh.
I was in Jaipur. I booked a cab for my stuff to reach me, but it never reached me, and it had like my camera equipment.
Oh.
And I waited for him for an hour, but then apparently he passed out because he was drunk in some Maidan. And then because it was camera equipment, I had to go to him, and luckily he did not cancel the trip, and he was like drunk in his car in some Maidan. So we reached him after 1.5 hours, and then we found him drunk on a Maidan. We opened the door, took our camera equipment. I have a video to it.
You don't tell me you vlogged on this also.
I did not vlog it, but I took it as a proof for Uber, because it was an Uber car. So
thankfully it was Uber, so you could track the location.
Thankfully, it did not cancel otherwise we would never get our stuff.
Yeah. This is a very interesting one. Have you had any ghost encounters in any of your travels so far where you felt the energy of a third person in the room?
Yes. This was in Nagaland. We did a trip in 2019 to Zuku Valley. And that place is known to be haunted. And, you know, the spirits, when you reach there, there's a campsite. And it's the only campsite in like...
Why did you go if it was haunted?
Because we didn't know it was haunted. They told us after we reached.
Oh, you've gone there?
Yeah, I had people with me. And I had another creator also with me. And then in the night, it was damn strange. We stayed in that. I do stay at luxury places, but I also stay at very humble places. I need to be grounded. Every year I do this. So this place is like just a chappar like that, and like with doors and windows, and it's damn cold. And we have sleeping bags, which I don't know how old they are. And then you sleep there, but there are rats everywhere. On the floor, you're sleeping and there are rats everywhere. So throughout the night, I have zipped myself completely and the rats are running all over you.
What are you saying? खतरों के खिलाड़ी टाइप सीन लग रहा है।
मैं समझी नहीं क्या करना है, तो हम लोग थोड़े ऐसे राइस बियर पी के हम थोड़े आउट हो गए. We were like, oh, let's just
enjoy with the rats.
Yeah, we had a good time, but we had a good time, and then in the night we heard some running inside, and then we heard the other creator, she screamed in the night, and then she woke up, and then we looked at her, and then in the morning, she's like, you know, when I woke up and I saw you guys sleeping, I looked at you guys and I saw like straight white figures inside the whole room, and I could hear someone run up and down the whole time, and oh God, I would love to go there again.
You should, because that was her experience, not yours.
I want to experience भूत.
But आपने कभी खुद ने देखा है ऐसा कुछ?
बचपन में शायद.
Like you get off your cat.
वो तो हाँ. I feel at one house that I lived in, there was a female ghost who lived with me, and she was very chill. Grew up as a very fattu child, and I think these experiences just made me like super cool with everything.
Crazy. 5 minutes, हो जाएगा. So, you know, there are these two female mountain climbers, Tangshi and Mungshi Malik.
Yeah.
So, they've had an experience of cannibalism in Indonesia.
Oh.
Where they entered into a forest and humans were running behind them to eat them up.
Must be hungry.
Yeah. Have you ever had a
cannibal run behind me?
नहीं वो तो नहीं लग रहा, नहीं तो अब तक बोल लेते आप सोशल मीडिया पे. But कुछ ऐसा Have you had any dangerous escape from a place?
Dangerous escape.
हाँ.
I have, but I'd rather not speak about it because it was a very traumatic incident and I wouldn't want everyone in this world to know about it. I have
नहीं, I
gotten
think
over it like
पता
on my
होना चाहिए.
own.
नहीं.
No, that I cannot share. I'm sorry, guys. But I think nobody knows except like 2 or 3 people in my life. So there's
Yeah.
definitely no chance I can say it on the camera.
You tell me next time.
I'll think
Separately.
about it. I'll think about
After my manifestation happens, तब तो बताना बनता है.
ठीक है. There was this incident that I came out of very dangerous incident that happened. I had an accident in Ladakh on my skateboard. So I was skateboarding and then I went downhill and I fell off it. I was at a very high speed and then I passed out. There was blood on the road. I can share the footage with you. I have the footage because we were taking a drone shot of it. Nobody knew that it was like steep. And after 1 minute, 37 seconds, I'm like on my face, broke my nose, broke my head. There's blood on the road and I passed out. And then my friends thought I died. Then they took me and then they were like, okay, she's breathing and her heart is beating. So they took me in the car 2 hours away from the hospital and I did not wake up until I reached the hospital. They put me in the wheelchair and I was so dazed. I thought I was drunk, you know. And then I was screaming at the nurses and then they gave me stitches on my nose and my head. And then for the next 15 days, I was disassociated with myself. I couldn't recognize myself.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, did you forget yourself?
I didn't forget. I didn't go like, मैं कहाँ हूँ?
Then
But I was very like disassociated. Like I would, like the next day the previous day for me would be very dream-like. Like how you would remember your dream.
हाँ.
You know, when you wake up, you're like, what was that dream I had? It was like that. The
So
previous day,
reality
for 15
was
days.
like dreams for you.
It was like, so it's like a psychological thing. It's called disassociation.
Oh.
And you disassociate with your body. You're in like a soul form. And suddenly you can see everything as a third person. Like we are having this conversation, I would be able to view it from like a bird's eye perspective. And it was weird. Like I would look in the mirror and be like, who's this woman staring at me? And be like, in 5 seconds, I'd be like, that's me.
What are you saying?
Yeah, it's very weird. Very alien-like feeling. Like, where am I? What is this?
Oh
Very
my-
drunk-like feeling. For 15 days. Then I was fine.
Shit.
When I realized that it's my mind playing games is when I realized that, okay, need to have control over. It's a very PTSD
हाँ.
thing.
So your stitches का mark नहीं.
Here.
Oh.
You can see it actually. It's right here. It's like a line. Then there's
Okay.
something here. They've healed over time. It's been 5 years now.
Crazy, huh? Like, did you go into that territory which was not supposed to be gone?
No, I was on a normal road.
Okay.
I don't do such things. I'm very like I'm a good civilian.
पर उसके बाद फिर डर लगा वापस करने के लिए?
नहीं.
नहीं.
In 5 days, I was back on the board. I'm like, if I get scared now, then I'll always be scared.
Yeah.
And skateboarding and longboarding is something that changed my life a lot.
Oh.
So I said, okay, I owe it to it.
Have you had any near-death experience?
That was my near-death experience.
यही था.
I felt like I'm dying. I felt
Oh
and
my
I was
God.
out. So I don't remember getting hurt. I don't remember falling. So I feel like when you die also, like you go through that rush of
Yeah.
like this
Series of flashbacks.
chemical in your body that
Yeah.
goes like boom. There is this chemical that it's like this drug that you experience. People say that there's this drug that gives you the same feeling as that feeling of death.
Oh my
And
God.
it's like something it's like a trip you go through before death. So the thing is, nobody knows now what death is like. Maybe like there is a cooler life after death. Or maybe like that experience when you're dying is also something else. It's like a
You
roller
should call
coaster.
someone who can talk about death.
Yeah, you should.
Is there any, like, the most unique culture you've experienced in the world that you have traveled?
India तो बहुत ज़्यादा है. Crazy it is, I think.
अच्छा.
When you have something like India, I don't think anything else excites you that much. You're like,
Yeah.
ये तो हमारे country में ज़्यादा crazy है. You know? So I feel abroad, I can't really put a finger at it, but I think there are places I would love to visit.
Like which ones?
Like a friend of mine did this voodoo village place recently, that where voodoo is like a thing. Sharanya, who is my friend, who's also a travel creator. She does really cool things when it comes to travel and experiencing weird things while traveling. So that's a cool thing she did. I want to experience that. And
Do you get burnout in travel?
Yeah, I was burnt out this year, so I was like, let's
तो
take a
break
break.
लिया है अभी.
Now I'm like, I want to go back traveling. Then I'll travel and I'll be like, oh, I'm so burnt out. Then I'll come back,
Yeah.
stay. Then again, I'll want to travel. It's a vicious cycle, which I love. I love it.
Yeah. Tell me about one unforgettable stranger you met on any of your trips who really taught you something which still stays with you.
There's a lady who actually we met when we were lost in Vietnam, me and my videographer Piyush, and
Yeah.
he's like my friend and he's like family now. So he was on the back of the scooter and I was riding and we reached the dead end and we wanted to go to a cave. And she was telling us the route in Vietnamese and I'm listening to her and it's recorded. The way she's explaining the things to me and she's like dancing and it's so funny and she somehow we spoke the same language. Like she spoke in Vietnamese, I spoke in Konkani, which is my mother tongue. And then I understood what she was saying and we reached the right location.
What?
Yeah.
ये कैसे?
It's all...
ये भी telepathy of another level this is, huh?
We speak the same language, all of us. It's all about how you understand each other. I mean, life has put me through certain situations that I had to become so philosophical.
Yeah, on that I'll ask one more philosophical question. Have you ever like fallen in love which has completely changed the path of your life?
My love stories have been life-changing for me.
All matlab how many?
I've had quite a few that have been very impactful. All the men that have been in my life have taught me something or the other. And I have no, I have no anger towards anyone. And I feel that everyone had to share something very important and had to add some value to my life in some way or the other. It could be anything work-wise, business-wise, character-wise, personality-wise. And I thank them. So, but thank you next. Thank you. Next. You know that song that Ariana Grande sings for all her exes? And she thanks them all that, you actually taught me this. And I think that's literally I think they all have led me to be my finest version as well. So, and they know it. And all of them are supporting me today. All of them. Yes. All of them. I am in, what is this word when you're in contact? I am in contact with them and some of them are married, some of them are still single, whatever. And some of them are in relationships, but we have that respect for each other and we all respect our journeys. So I think that emotional maturity is something you need to...
Everyone comes in your life for a lesson. You got to see that lesson.
I was always so smart and so... But
you become like this because you had those experiences. Nahi to nahi hota.
So it's very important for me to be with the right partner or to be at my finest.
What are you looking for now? If you have...
Someone who's done their inner work, and someone who I can respect every single day. So I feel like someone who is also as ambitious as me and understands me.
Yeah.
Someone who can, I feel it's important to have that communication with that person. I need someone who inspires me.
Mila kya koi?
Nahi.
Nahi?
This is my fault to everyone who can inspire me.
This is like a shout out.
Shout out. I love love. And I am just holding that space for the right person because it's very sacred for me,
Yeah.
Love and everything around it. So I only indulge in it when I have the right person to give that to.
Yeah.
It's a very important space for me, very sacred. And I know for a fact that one day, I'll know when I meet the person, I'll be like, oh, this is it. So that I'm very sure of. The thing is, I'm so sure of what I want. And I'm so I'm not very picky. I'm very sure with what I want. Many people are not very sure of what they want.
Yeah, exactly.
So I know I know these are the things that a person should have. And then that will result into a great human being. Being a good human being is important.
One place where you went which taught you more about yourself. I mean, every place would have had a different story with you, but that striking place where you just felt like, okay, this never hit me as hard as this before.
I think all travel trips make me feel like I'm evolving.
Yeah.
But one trip I think would be the Vietnam trip. It was bad in all ways.
Okay.
So it really taught me a lot about myself that, okay, you cannot be bothered by these things and I need to fix that about myself. It really changed that. And in a good way, like in a nice, beautiful, calming manner, has to be Rishikesh.
Acha.
You know, I went there when I was not in a good state of mind, and it really helped me feel that nothing is permanent, everything is temporary, and you just flow, you know, like
Yeah.
the Ganga. I like walked through the alleys, and it was so calming. I played Holi there.
When did you go?
2023.
Yeah, I went in 24.
I met with some people who I had like a long conversation with. It was like this podcast I did. And when we were speaking, we did the podcast by the banks of the Ganga. So I'm sitting on a rock.
Beautiful.
And the camera is rolling, and we've just spoken for an hour. And it was surreal, that experience, because we went into such a space, into such a energy bubble that nothing else existed at that time. We were just speaking to each other like, you know, this was supposed to happen, like this conversation was supposed to happen. The universe put us together to speak about these things. We spoke about many things, about my accident, why it happened, what happened after that, and it really changed so many things in my head about life in general. So I think that was a really beautiful trip. And this trip in Phuket that I just did recently, many trips, I mean, but this Phuket trip was like recent. It was a solo trip, and I went there for Muay Thai. So every day I trained at my Muay Thai training center, and it just taught me how much my body can, how resilient my body is physically. You know, I was whacked, beaten, boxed by my coach, thrown on the floor.
Was it samurai kind of training?
No, Muay Thai is like kickboxing. Yeah, so I've been training like since 2 years now.
Oh, nice.
So
Yeah.
I wanted to do a fight, but I think it's not really like feasible at this.
Please don't.
Break me, see me with broken teeth.
No, the jewelry brand.
Yeah, I know.
It's a good shape and
Yeah.
face.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, okay, got it. No, that's very interesting. And lastly, is there any rare place where you've been to where most of the people haven't ventured into or have explored it yet? Like a hidden gem?
Nothing that I can think of right now, but I think nothing is a hidden gem anymore in this world. Like all places have like an article on them. Now, if you read about, like if you want to go to a place, everything has been covered.
Okay.
So what is hidden? Something that you can go on your own and find.
Yeah.
That is hidden.
You must have done, no, in your travel?
All places are hidden only like that. You go to some place and you find something unique about the place, that is hidden for you. So I feel like that is unique. Nobody's captured it. You captured it. You discovered it first. Then that automatically becomes hidden. In Vietnam, we went to this really cool, like that is also like not hidden anymore.
It's known, yeah.
Yeah, but everyone went to this resort that I really thought I should go. It was surrounded by limestone mountains.
Wow.
And I posted a picture from there. It was beautiful. They had like a little tub sort of a thing. So I got a beautiful picture. It was raining, and then suddenly the sun came out. So it was, that photo is so magical.
Wow.
And it's like a really beautiful photo of me like in the water and the mountains in the back. And after I posted that, that place is always full with Indians. Because like, you know, people go there a lot now. And that guy, my photographer, my videographer, Piyush, he went there recently. And he said that that guy has thanked us so much.
Really?
Yes, because after our video and after our post, they've had so many like customers and they're always full. So I feel
Crazy. This is the kind of impact
yes.
that your work is creating. Amazing.
I feel that's some next level blessings get.
Like, God doesn't give everybody the opportunity to create an impression or an impact on the others. And human life is so precious. So as a human, if you've got that, must be so blessed.
That's true. Exactly. I feel that's the ultimate goal, you know.
No, that's so true. I'm so like full of wholesome vibes right now. Thank you so much. It was a lovely chat and one of the most interesting, funnier ones.